Hello everybody, welcome to MSI, which stands for Murders She Investigated. I'm Zoe. If you are new to MSI, you are invited to subscribe this channel. In this video, we are going to ascertain there was a passenger X on board MH370 and build a profile for this passenger. Since day one of the MH370 incident, Malaysia Airlines has consistently claimed there were 239 people on board MH370, with only a few inconsistencies. They have maintained that there were 227 passengers and 12 crew members. Inconsistencies occurred twice in 2014 and once again in 2017. The first inconsistency occurred on March 10th of 2014, 2 days after MH370 disappeared. Let's return to this first inconsistency towards the end of the video. The second time it happened was when Malaysia Airlines issued a statement on March 24th of 2014. The statement was released approximately 30 minutes prior to then Prime Minister Najib's public announcement. Najib was about to tell the world that MH370 had been lost in the remote southern Indian Ocean, and none of those on board survived. To ease the shock of the victims' families, Malaysia Airlines decided to text the bad news to the families before Najib's public speech. A full statement of the text message was also posted on Malaysia Airlines website. In the message, it said, quote, "On behalf of all of us at Malaysia Airlines and all Malaysians, our prayers go out to all the loved ones of the 226 passengers and of our 13 friends and colleagues at this enormously painful time." As one can imagine, receiving such bad news over a text was upsetting enough. The changing accounts of the people on board fueled public outrage. People began to speculate there were in fact 13 crew members, and the 13th crew member was the hijacker. Some people also speculated that Malaysia Airlines had been trying to hide the 13th crew member among the passengers. The public wanted to know the name of the 13th crew member. The voice from families of the Chinese passengers was particularly demanding. Facing the pressure of public speculation, Malaysia Airlines had to come forward and explain. On March 26th, a representative from Malaysia Airlines answered a reporter from Beijing Youth Daily. The representative said the 13th colleague was a Chinese who boarded MH370 for a personal trip to Beijing. The reporter asked for the name of that Chinese colleague. The representative declined to answer any more questions. Being persistent, the reporter wrote Malaysia Airlines headquarters and asked for more details about the 13th colleague. Another Malaysia Airlines employee, Adelina Azharuddin, replied. Adelina confirmed there were 239 people on board MH370. Of the people on board, there were 12 crew members, 226 passengers, plus one Malaysia Airlines employee. The reporter wrote back for the name and job title of the Malaysia Airlines employee. The inquiry was ignored. In 2017, the third anniversary of MH370 incident, some media reported a claim by Andre Minan. Andre said he had discovered evidence of an extra person on board MH370. This extra person likely acted in conjunction with larger external operational support to take full command and control of MH370 cockpit. Andre's evidence was the MH370 manifest. According to the manifest, Malaysia Airlines sold 228 tickets for flight MH370. Two of the ticket holders each had an infant. The babies got the flight free. By 2017, it was already known that 4 of the ticket holders did not show up at the airport and missed the flight. Therefore, there should be 226 passengers on board MH370. This number 226 is derived as 228 tickets sold plus 2 babies minus 4 ticket holders who missed the flight. Given there were 12 crew members, the total number of people on board MH370 should be 238, not 239. Malaysia Airlines claimed there were 239 people on board MH370. Apparently, there was an extra person on board. The Malaysia Airlines was aware of it. Following this challenge by Andre, a spokesperson from the MH370 safety investigation team responded quickly. He first acknowledged the manifest Andre referred to was on page 575. He also acknowledged that the investigation team was aware of the numbers Andre cited. However, the spokesperson claimed the said manifest was transmitted 2 hours prior to MH370 taking off. Due to last-minute changes, the actual number of passengers on board was 227. The spokesperson did not elaborate further. We know MH370 took off at 00:42:44 seconds of March 8th. 2 hours prior. 2 hours prior means 22:42 and 44 seconds of March 7th. In other words, sometime after 22:42:44 seconds of March 7th, MH370 gained an additional passenger, who was the extra person Andre discovered. If that additional passenger was just another traveler, he or she must have been in a great hurry to rush to the airport and purchase a ticket at such a late hour. Or the passenger was a Malaysia Airlines employee. He or she boarded the flight as a passenger by taking advantage of the company's free of charge policy. Either way, it would be uncontroversial. The spokesperson could simply have been forthcoming and told the public what had happened. Yet, the spokesperson chose to be vague, using the phrase "due to last-minute changes" as the only explanation for the additional passenger. In the previous video, the unusual 3-minute pause on the runway, we know something unusual happened on the runway during the last 3 minutes before takeoff. If we take the spokesperson's last-minute changes literally, it means the additional passenger was related to an event 1 minute before MH370 departed. In any event, it is fair to ask if the additional passenger are part of the unusual 3-minute pause on the runway. Regarding the number of passengers on board, there was another inconsistency. As mentioned at the beginning of this video, it happened on March 10th of 2014. At 12 noon, Malaysia government gave a daily press conference. There were 4 Malaysia officials on conference stage. 2 of them were from the military, 1 from Malaysia Airlines, and the other was Azharuddin Rahman, who was the head of the Civil Aviation Authority. Azharuddin was the lead of the 4. They were supposed to update the public on the latest about the MH370 incident. About a halfway into the conference, Azharuddin suddenly volunteered information by saying that there were 5 passengers who checked in but who did not board the flight. He said that Malaysia Airlines complied with procedures required and removed their baggage from the aircraft. Azharuddin reassured the audience that there was no unaccompanied baggage on flight MH370. After the conference, some news reporters followed up on their own leads about the 5 passengers. It turned out Azharuddin was not providing accurate information. For various reasons, there were 4 ticket holders who did not make their way to the airport and missed flight MH370. None of the 4 checked in or had baggage that was checked in. All 4 of them were identified by the media. 2 of them were friends. The other 2 were unrelated individuals. Azharuddin claimed there were 5 passengers who checked in but failed to board. 4 of the 5 were accounted for. There is 1 person who remains unknown. According to Azharuddin, this unknown person checked in but did not board. If the person did not board MH370, the total number of passengers should be 226, not 227, as repeatedly claimed by Malaysia Airlines. So far, we have gone over 3 sets of information about the passengers. Each casts a shadow of a mysterious passenger. The Malaysian officers consistently declined to disclose further information. Could these shadows be reflections of the same passenger? Let's pull together claims made by Malaysian officials over the years and see what we have. Here they are. 1. A Chinese national. 2. A Malaysia Airlines employee. 3. A person who made no prior booking. 4. A person boarded MH370 due to last-minute changes. 5. A person who checked in but did not board. Of the 5 attributes listed, there were no apparent contradictions among them to suggest that there were more than one passenger. We can argue with confidence that all the attributes refer to a single person, namely passenger X. Some of you may wonder, how did passenger X check in baggage, fail to board, but manage to get on board? We know MH370 passengers boarded the flight from gate C1. When boarding, their boarding passes were swiped through a reader to register each person's boarding. If passenger X did not board MH370 from gate C1, he or she would not receive a boarded status. This was likely the reason, as Harudin claimed, there were 5 passengers who failed to board. If passenger X did not board from gate C1, where else could this passenger X board from? The answer to this question will be offered in a later video, Passenger X Unveiled. This is all for the passenger X. If you are new to MSI, you are invited to subscribe this channel. If you are already a subscriber, a thumb up is appreciated. Feel free to share this channel with others. The MH370 incident deserves everybody's attention worldwide for the sake of safe public air traveling. Next time, the video will be about the Malaysia Air Force playing inept. See you then.